Teaching mathematics can be extremely challenging, especially when students just don't get it. Now there's a better way to teach math. It's called ClearMath, and it's changing students' attitudes toward a subject that many find to be downright difficult.
Well, my freshman year in geometry, I wanted to cry every single day because I couldn't understand it and I couldn't visualize any of the problems, so it was just constantly a headache, and it was like everybody else was learning and I just wasn't.
I hated math. It was just, I don't know how to describe it. It was terrible though. I know at one point I was taking a class and I think the lady was kind enough just to pass me by a point.
With the old way of learning math, we were just taught rules, learned the rules, didn't understand what the rule was, and then just went on to the next level whether we were ready or not.
Many traditional math teachers use tricks and shortcuts to teach students quick ways to work problems.
They fail to show kids what's going on behind the scenes. They don't allow students to see the math that's actually taking place. They limit their ability to think.
With ClearMath, students learn how to approach problems by learning why math works. By focusing on student perceptions, ClearMath identifies and resolves the ambiguity that so often undermines conceptual learning and critical thinking skills. With traditional math, the student must fit the lesson. With ClearMath, the lesson must fit the student. Traditional math uses more memorization. ClearMath uses more reasoning and critical thinking. Traditional math is worksheet-rich. ClearMath is dialogue-rich. Good communication between the teacher and student is critical.
How many solutions can we have for this equation? Notice we have two variables, and it's an equation or an equality. How many solutions do you think we can have for this?
Infinite.
Infinite, good word. Okay, now, what are those infinite number solutions? How do you see those on the graph?
They're all on the line.
Okay, they're on the line. They are the points that make up the line.
ClearMath students are immersed in the vocabulary of math.
It would be like going to a foreign country and not being able to speak the language of that country. And using that terminology, because when you speak the terminology and make the students speak it back, they do much better.
Traditional math uses specific examples to teach general concepts. ClearMath uses general concepts that are applied to specific examples.
Generalization is a main concept of ClearMath teaching. For example, if we're finding the quotient of two specific fractions, it might be best to look at that in a bigger, more generalized way where we use variables. If we can find the quotient of any two fractions written in variable form, then we can find the quotient of any two specific fractions.
With traditional math, you often just memorize a process or algorithm. For example, in the case of dividing fractions, students are taught to simply flip the second fraction and put the product of the numerators over the product of the denominators. This trick is commonly called flip and multiply. But the ClearMath method offers better understanding as to why the fraction is flipped. You see, a fraction bar is another way of saying divide. This is the same as saying 4/7 divided by 3/5. It's now a complex fraction that needs to be simplified by multiplying the denominator by its reciprocal in order to make the denominator equal to 1. The student's understanding of a reciprocal is reinforced by application. This operation also has to be done to the numerator to keep the complex fraction the same value. 5/3 divided by 5/3 is a form of 1, so the result has equivalent value. The product of the numerator is 4/7 times 5/3, and since division by 1 is the same as multiplying by 1, we get this. As you can see, we end up multiplying the same two fractions as in the traditional method above, but with ClearMath, students have a better understanding of why the second fraction is flipped.
ClearMath has really helped me because now I just don't get in the classroom and do what I'm supposed to do. I actually understand what I'm doing, and now instead of thinking of it more like a problem, it's more of a puzzle, and I've just learned what the pieces are to be able to move them around.
Students who don't struggle with math benefit from ClearMath as well.
I was already good at math, but when I started taking ClearMath, it took me to a higher thinking level.
My freshman year, I made a 36 on the math portion of the ACT, which is a perfect score. And then the following year, I made an 800 on my SAT, which is also a perfect score.
Parents often fret over a child's math grades and scores, especially if college is in the future.
My daughter was struggling in math. She was falling behind her other classmates. So we enrolled her in the ClearMath and she caught up and then accelerated beyond them.
We homeschooled my son until the 9th grade, and we noticed that he wasn't really thriving in math, although we thought he could. And so we enrolled him in a ClearMath class, and he literally blossomed there. He really loved it. In fact, now he's ended up going to college majoring in mathematics.
My son took the ACT and we found his math score was very, very low. He wasn't understanding things that we thought he should. So he started attending the ClearMath ACT prep classes and quickly raised that score by the time he took the next test.
That is exactly what we're looking for, is a method that prepares students for college and increases their college entrance exam scores.
So what do teachers have to say about ClearMath?
When I was a freshman in high school, my freshman algebra teacher used the ClearMath method of teaching math, and it made it so much easier for me. I completely looked at math a different way. I understood it better, it made more sense. There was no longer just memorizing things, and in fact it made me want to be a math teacher myself.
ClearMath has made me a much more efficient teacher. It allows me to not just cover some content a little bit, but it allows me to get in depth in the content that I want to cover.
As a teacher, my students want more. They want to know why. And so that's where ClearMath to me really comes into play. It answers the why and it just puts the whole picture together. So you're not memorizing a procedure to do a set of problems. You take that concept and you apply it to a whole range of problems.
ClearMath is the perceptual teaching of big pictures. With ClearMath, students can take their critical thinking skills to a whole new level.
With ClearMath, math is incredible. It's easy, it's at times fun. It's a completely different experience. It's great.